So today I want to talk about Father J. Michael McGivney, a hurricane, and a better community. So first, Father McGivney. If you haven't heard of Father McGivney, he was a priest in Connecticut in the late 1800s. And at the time in Connecticut in the 1800s, there was a large number of Irish immigrants. And the immigrants usually took the hardest, lowest paying jobs because that was what is available to them. And of course, because they took those jobs, there was also a very high mortality rate. Oftentimes, these young Irish men died on the job. They died trying to provide for their wives and their children. And so Father McGivney saw this process repeating itself over and over again. And so he gathered together a group of Catholic men and formed a group to take care of widows and orphans. And they called themselves the Knights of Columbus. And this group continued to grow and grow and grow, and they continued to look out for those who lived at the margins, those who were in need, those who struggled, and they gathered together in fraternity and in prayer. And their main goal was to have this organization help young Catholic men and older Catholic men be good husbands, fathers, and faithful Catholics. And this organization continues today to look out for those who are on the margins, those who are in need. And so today, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to bless the officers of the Knights of Columbus. But just so you don't think that we're biased, also you may have noticed that our readings were done by the members of our Catholic Council of Women. And after Mass, there'll be tables outside to also represent the Council of Catholic Women for the parish, because both of these organizations, both of these groups in the parish, are really a beautiful vehicle for us to live our faith. And I'll give you a concrete example. You know, recently we had Hurricane Helene come through and devastate western North Carolina and northeast Tennessee. And I watched as so many members of our parish responded in love, responded in compassion, responded because they saw a concrete need. They saw people who were hurting, they saw people who were suffering, and they wanted to do something. They wanted to do a concrete act of love that would touch the lives of others. It didn't fix all of the problems. It didn't immediately solve every issue that was created by Hurricane Helene, but it was a visible, tangible sign of a faith-filled community's love for people they don't even know. That's beautiful. And that's what leads us back into our readings today, because it is very easy for us, when we forget what our lives are about, to follow the path of James and John, to think about ourselves, to think about what's in this for me. You know, there's an old saying, there's a radio station that everybody listens to. And you might say, well, I don't even listen to radio. I guarantee you, you listen to this station. It's called What's in It for Me, WIFFM. All of us listen to that station because we're constantly evaluating, what's in this for me? What am I going to get out of this? In fact, this morning you might have even thought that on your way to Mass. What am I going to get out of this today? It's okay if you did. We naturally want to know what we're going to get out of something. So James and John approach Jesus as they say, you know, Lord, how about a little something for the service here? You know, how about a little tip? We want to know what's in it for us. And so they ask for seats of honor. They ask for seats of glory, and Jesus redirects their vision. He reminds them that for Christians, our lives are about service. And that's why if we want a better community, if we really want to know how to build a beautiful community, not only here in our parish, but also in the greater Knoxville area, in East Tennessee, even in our country, we need to change the station that we listen to. We need to listen to a very different station. And that station is the one where Jesus says, I came not to be served, but to serve. And so if I want a better community, instead of saying, what am I going to get out of this community, I might need to say, what can I give to this community? What do I have to offer? And it starts on a very local level. In fact, there's an awesome book. It's called The Art of Neighboring. I just want you to mentally think about your neighborhood right now and imagine the houses that are closest to you. Just pick the 8 closest houses to you. How much do you know about those families? Do you know their names? Do you know their occupations? Do you know anything beyond that? One of the things about neighboring is just beginning in our own local community to look around us and learn who the people are that we live next to every single day. What if one of them is homebound and needs someone to pick up a prescription for them? Maybe I could do that. What if somebody is having a hard time with their garbage, just getting their garbage out to the street because of the physicality of it? Maybe I could help with that. It doesn't have to be the grand gesture, but it begins by knowing who the people are who live around us and asking the question, what can I do for my community? What can I do to be a servant, someone who serves the needs of others? We have a beautiful way to do that. Here in our community, through different service organizations, we can look out and see what those needs are. And that's important for us to do as a community here, but it's also important for us to do individually. It's important for us to look at our neighborhoods, to look at our communities, and ask that question. What is God calling me to do in response to the community that I'm a part of? Because one of the things we know about our faith is that it is not a solo act. Our faith always invites us to live in communion with one another, to live as people who are called by God to let their talents and abilities serve the common good. And so when we look at our scriptures today, we see first in the reading from Isaiah that image of the suffering servant. Jesus models for us one who came not only to serve, but to suffer and die for us so that we might know that we have the freedom to offer our lives in service to others. And so today I invite you, just reflect on your own community, your own neighborhood, and ask God the question, how are you being invited today to reach out in love, to reach out in service to those who are part of your community? What is it that we can each individually and collectively do to serve the greater good of our communities? And in doing so, we respond to Jesus' invitation to let our lives not be served, but to allow our lives to be lived in service.